On top of human rights issues, Japan seems to be re-examining its financial ties to China too. The country is halting its aid to China, which it's been handing over for over 40 years. The funding normally covers important areas for economic growth, including finance, technology, infrastructure projects in the energy sector, and communications. But just how much aid has Japan been giving? According to Japan's Official Development Assistance Department, Japan provided $32 billion to China in 2015. Of that money, $1.35 billion was non-reimbursable, meaning China doesn't need to pay it back. Another $29 million went to loans with terms and conditions favorable to China. And $1.6 billion were earmarked for technical project assistance. Those numbers represent what Japan gave China in just a single year. But what prompted Japan to aid China in the first place? Back in the 1980s, China was still a developing country and was just starting to open its doors to foreign relations. Like the U.S. and other democratic countries, Japan had believed the communist regime would become more democratic through trade and foreign aid. Those nations didn't realize until years later it was actually doing the opposite. Now, the Chinese Communist Party is seen as moving further and further away from democracy and freedom. For Japan, there's also another factor in play, pushing it to stop the aid. That is, China didn't tell its people about the Japanese aid. On the contrary, Beijing has been souring relations between the two nations, rather than publicly fostering them by revealing the aid. The tactic is a common one from Beijing's playbook. It's usually pulled out when the regime is in crisis mode and in need of a common enemy. The so-called enemy nation is then used to unite Chinese citizens and direct their attention away from domestic problems.